Romance at a glance. Romance at a glance.
What you say now?
Romance at a glance.
Go ahead, girl.
Well, as you all know, we're talking about Pet with Isabella Starling. A standalone book this time, not a series. Although I will say that Peep Show, also by the same author, has the exact same font and like cover style, although it is also a standalone. So they're not in a series, they're not related, but they're like coverly related. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Nice.
Fun fact. What did you think of the cover art?
Yes. I'm sorry, what now? I was here for this cover art.
Obviously.
I like Skin. I like when
Yes.
Skin is showed. I like that there's two guys paying attention to her. I like that we get the good neck view and the elongated
Always a good neck view.
You know what I'm saying? And I kind of like this neon pink.
I loved it. It was like a neon sign that said pet.
Yes.
I was here for it.
It's like that whoever designed this knows how to use Canva.
Yes.
And I was like, yes.
Yes, I really enjoyed it as well. I thought it was super hot, dark romance. I was like, okay, there's two dudes, one girl. When's it going to happen? How is it going to happen? What's going to happen? And I was there for it. Shawnee, tell the people about the narrator of this book.
There were three narrators. There was Ava Erickson, CJ Mission, and Joe Arden.
Okay.
And honestly, they did it for me. Like, I didn't even notice them as narrators, and I think that's a solid narration. You know me. If I don't notice the narration, I'm like, that was good. You got me through the book.
Well, there you have it, people. You can listen. I will say, I do want to just like give one caveat. So if you guys are new listeners, and there's lots of you, hello, welcome to the podcast. Shawnee always reads the audiobooks, and there are some dark romances that we were recommended over and over that we weren't actually able to do on the podcast because they don't have audiobooks. A couple of which I will be talking about on Patreon, including Call the Coroner by Avril Ashton. We actually did read one of her other books and interviewed her. You guys should definitely check that out. They were awesome. And also Sicko by Amo Jones. You guys recommended this like off the charts, and I read it, and I have fucking thoughts, people. So make sure you come to Patreon because I have a need to talk about this. And there's a couple other ones that I'm still like working my way through, but I'll let you guys know. But the reason I just want you to know we did not choose some books was because of the lack of audiobook, not because we weren't excited about the dark romance.
Yeah. Come on, man. Make it accessible out there, authors.
Yes.
For me.
For Shawnee. Do it for Shawnee.
Do it for me.
Okay, I'm going to hit you with the synopsis. This is not the actual official synopsis. This is the Bridget synopsis, because the official synopsis was misleading, I thought. So I'm going to give you a quick synopsis that actually tells a little story about the book. So our main character, Sapphire, is just over 18, has distanced herself from her parents and her whole old life, all friends, family, isn't going to college, taking a quote-unquote gap year. She meets King at filling in for a friend catering job and is immediately drawn to him, and he's drawn to her, equal parts wanting to take care of her and hurt her, and also bang her. They start a dizzying master submissive relationship, and he is like super obsessed with her past abuse that he finds out about. And she's equally obsessed about pushing his buttons in order to get punished. And everything seems to be going like, well, until one of the sort of assignments he gives her is to go out and find a stranger and have sex with him. And she meets stranger. And, you know, what happens if she wants them both now? What will her obsessive master do? So it's kind of the gist. I will say that the description makes it seem more like they're both doms, and like the original description, that they're both doms and that she's going to like be a submissive for both of them. And I do want to like get your thoughts about it because we don't meet stranger until 50% in the book. I know when we were chatting and I said something like, oh, it's supposed to be a menage. And you were like, what now?
I was like,
it's
yeah, I was still thinking about it.
I haven't met anybody else yet in this book. And so I want to hear, before we like go too much into the plot stuff, like what did you think about the fact that the third person didn't get introduced so late?
So you're correct. I had no idea. You were like, a menage. I'm like, I'm halfway through this book and I have not met another person. And also I can't imagine, the first relationship is so established at this point. How can another person come in? Right. And you know I'm always about a menage. I love a menage. Yes. Like, can I have a menage for breakfast? Can I have a menage for lunch? Yes. But like, this menage was awkward for me. Yeah. Like, it was weird. And I was like, I want to enjoy this more. And I feel really weird about it.
Well, yeah, it was, I'm going to just assume a few things about you, Shawnee, right now. For
assume,
the people. So it was weird because King didn't want it. Which I think probably for you would make it less hot because you're like, no, you should both be into this, like giving her all this pleasure, like get together. Also, it was weird because he just like showed up. I do have to say though that, so I agree with you. I think one of the main flaws of the book was that we didn't have time to be as connected with Stranger as we were with King.
Yeah.
And especially in the sense that we got to be literally in King's mind because it was told from a dual narration. And then it was told also from strangers a little bit, but it was only told from like, maybe there was only like 3 or 4 times that it was from his point of view. And so, or it felt like it. So there wasn't as much time to like get into what he was thinking. I will say though that he had, for me, 2 of the hottest scenes in the whole book. The initial scene where she meets him, which was, I thought, great.
Yeah.
Like when he sends her out there in like lingerie with just the coat over it. And she's like, sort of in this like high in her mind, like everyone's like lusting after her, and then she finds Stranger, and he just like okay, we're doing this, okay, just takes her back, just bangs her up against the windows, and I was like, Stranger, that was a good entrance into a novel.
Yes, you came in with a bang.
You came in with a literal bang, and I liked it. And then the second one, when they're in the bar, and he's like, would you let him take you in the bathroom? This is my quote for later. I'm going to paraphrase now. I'm going to give you the full sexy corner later, but when he's like, starts dirty talking to her at the bar, and I was like, ooh, Stranger, ooh, what you doing, Stranger? Does dirty talk.
So I had a couple issues, and I'll bring them up now because, like, when you do a dual perspective, when we're in King's mind and we're in, spoiler alert, let me just start by saying that, but you're in King's mind. You're in Pet's mind at some point.
Oh, yeah. Sapphire's becomes Pet immediately.
Oh, yeah.
He only ever calls her Pet. Sorry, I forgot to mention that in my synopsis. My bad.
Well, go read the book, people. You'll know.
Yeah,
so in Pet's mind, Felix's mind, King's mind, and...
Felix is Stranger.
And the thing that was weird for me is what's weird for me in every book that tries to give you every point of view.
Yeah.
Which is that at no time in King's mind does he talk about how he's sick and how he's preparing her?
Sense. Oh, okay. Shawnee does huge spoiled the whole ending, which is fine.
Shit.
We do that every time. Obviously, you guys know us by now. We spoil everything. Twist, 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 twist. Twist. Just out of the goddamn blue at the very, very, very end of the book, maybe 2 chapters from the end, we find out that not only is King terminally ill with cancer, has left her an enormous amount of money, but also he's already dead and the funeral already happened. So she has no chance to say goodbye. And the reason why he pushed her away is because he knew he was dying and he didn't want her to like be there for it. Also, like he said he would have killed her. I mean, he also kills her rapist when she was a child. He's like, I would have done it regardless if I wasn't dying. But like, I also just didn't give a fuck about leaving evidence or anything. So I was like, well, I'm dying anyways. What are they going to do? And I was like, touché. No, but I totally agree with you. I think it's so annoying. It's the way I feel about Frozen because there were no clues at all that Hans is evil until all of a sudden he's evil.
Yeah.
Even if you watch it, every time she turns away, he should have made a sinister face and he didn't. And that's bad filmmaking and storytelling.
Or at least some...
Don't make me get on my Frozen soapbox, Shawnee. You know I got soapbox about Frozen.
I got a Princess and the Frog soapbox. We listen.
Every time I watch Frozen with my kid, my husband's like, you just want to heckle this whole movie. And I'm like... And I tell my kid, I'll be like, who's the real villain? And she's like, Elsa. And I'm like, good for you. Who's the hero? Anna. Okay, good. I'm glad you know who the hero of this movie is. It's Anna, everyone. Come at me.
Frozen is telling you it's complicated. There's a lot of gray.
There's no gray. She has terrible parents who child abuse her sister. It's a terrible book.
It's
terrible movie. I mean.
It's pretty bad.
But the songs are so good. And Olaf, I mean, Summer gets me every time.
Yo, I don't know if we talked. Okay, I got to go on this tangent because I don't know if we ever talked about this on the podcast.
Tell me.
But I watched. I said to somebody that I don't like in The Princess of the Frog that they make the voodoo doctor a villain. Right. Because voodoo is a religion. It's people's religion. Mm-hmm. And they're basically vilifying that religion because it's an African people's religion. Right. So I don't like that. Right. And I was like, they would never make a priest. And then my friend said to me, oh, they have made a priest. And I was like, what? And then they brought up Hunchback of Notre Dame. Yes. Yep. And he put on this song for me where the priest is singing about if he can't have Esmeralda, he will burn her. Mm-hmm. she's tempting him and he must burn her.
Yeah.
And I was like, I watched this as a child.
Yeah. Well, he
what
also
in the actual fuck?
He actually, I mean, he locks Quasimodo in the tower because he tells Quasimodo, like, no one will ever love you because you look horrible.
Like,
he's a bad person.
What?
Yeah. So I agree with you about the voodoo doctor thing. Not although you make a good point, not because of his religion, but because I think he was just like not a very well done villain. Like Disney specializes in really good villains.
Yeah.
And I think he was like, for me at least, more like campy almost. Mm-hmm. And like his motives were very silly. Like, oh, I just want like a little bit more, I don't know, like
he just seemed very
like he just wanted to like be rich or like run the town. And I'm like, at least Ursula wanted to like kill everyone and make them into little tiny slaves.
Exactly.
And like, you know, like rule the seas with that iron fist.
If you're gonna be a villain, shoot high.
Yes,
shoot
exactly.
High,
at least Scar wanted to own the whole Pride Lands and was willing to let everyone die for it.
Yes. I mean, that guy just wanted a seat at the table. All the other villains, they're building their own damn tables. Exactly. Let me tell you right now.
That's what you got to do.
But anyways, that always blows my mind. When I watch this as an adult, I've been rethinking all of the conditioning that I've gone through as a child, as a young woman, as a whatever growing up. Yeah. And boy, it is It is like fucking up my brain. Unpacking all this shit. Sometimes I pack it back.
There are almost no Disney movies where. Like, Brave is one of the first Disney movies where she doesn't have a love interest, and also she has both parents. And they're both good parents.
Yeah.
But almost every other Disney movie, broken home, either one or both parents are dead immediately, before the movie starts, or they die immediately. Even Nemo, Ma dies right at the beginning. I mean, like it's just category. That's how they structure their stories.
I feel like even Wall-E...
Wally's alone.
Like, he's alone.
He has no friends, no parents. Eve is alone. It's a sad day.
I don't know.
All those little babies didn't have parents. They were like grown in incubators. Remember when all the babies slide? Yeah. And then she tells the guy, I hope you like babies. And he's like, what? He's like, I can't even walk. My bones are so squishy.
God. I feel like we have to smoke a little, like, before you leave and watch Wall-E. Because I feel like...
Fucking love Wall-E.
I'm rewatching all these old shows and I'm, like, unpacking traumas in the process. I'm like, why? What the hell? Like, I watched an old Christian... video that my parents had us sing in.
They were going to say Christian Slater, and I was like, go on. I love Christian Slater.
That would have been better.
Tell me more. Which one? I've seen them all.
I wish my mom had forcibly made me watch Christian Slater. But she used to pre-tape everything we could watch as children. Mm-hmm. And we were in this...
Johnny, I watched Terminator at like 4 years old.
I did not. Not a chance. My mom beat my dad up because he let me watch this like R-rated movie where people were getting shot in the head that I still to this day remember when I was like 4. But anyways, so we sang on the soundtrack. Mm-hmm. And we watched this so many times, and my mom would let us watch like Superbook and things like that, all this Christian programming. Mm-hmm. And so I went back the other day to show my partner, like, oh, we sang on this thing, and we watched it 1,000,000 times. And there's a song in there called Loyalty, and it is basically the 10 Commandments. The whole thing's about the 10 Commandments. And so there's a song called Loyalty, not about adultery, and the entire thing is framed as it being the woman's fault not to let the guy stray.
Of course.
In cartoon form.
Of course. Of course.
And I was appalled.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, because
Did you see that the mega churches are doing a whole thing about Lil Nas X's like devil shoes?
Yeah.
And he's like, you guys are really preaching about the shoes? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
It baffles my mind, but like I left church when I was 15. I was like, I can't do this. This is not for me. But like, it's just so interesting to me. Like, I was 2 days earlier, I was having a conversation where I was like, why do I feel such a sense of loyalty to my partners? Why do I stay in relationships I shouldn't be in for too long? Mm-hmm. And it's literally my sense of loyalty that keeps me working on it. And then I watched this video and I was like, fuck, like, I feel like I didn't stand a chance. Like, this is the framing that if your relationship doesn't work out, it's the woman's issue, not his. There's a scene where the guy is literally like doing the auga eyes to another like rabbit. He's a rabbit, like to another rabbit, and the girl's like pulling him back. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, yo, I watched this at like 6 and 7 years old. Yeah, like this is crazy.
It's so prevalent because I get crap now, currently, in my life, for my husband's family, like, it's my fault that he's not closer to them. And I'm like, it ain't my fault. He's your fucking family member. Like, I'm not the problem. I mean, I honestly know for sure that they think I'm the problem. And I'm like, no.
Yeah. I got no problems with y'all.
I ain't got no problems with y'all. Call your own family member. Don't make me feel like I have, and I've had my own family has said that to me.
Yeah.
And also I've heard it from his family. Yeah, but you're and I'm like, the what now? The wife? Well, true. But also, I'm not responsible for everything.
No, man.
Also, I've had numerous people say to me, because I work from home, like, yeah, but you don't work. And I'm like, yes, I do. I just don't go to an office. I do work, though. And I'm like, but even if I did work, it still wouldn't be my responsibility. Yeah. And even if I didn't work and I full-time raised my children, still wouldn't be my responsibility.
Still wouldn't be your responsibility.
Still not mine. So I'm here to tell you guys, if you get shit from anyone in your family or your in-laws or friends or whatever who are like, yeah, but like you should just do you don't have to do it. Permission from Bridget that you can just say, nope, not my responsibility. Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
In Patreon, I'm going to post, because I like to pre-script things I'm going to say to people for things that I know that are coming up, right? And I have a whole script for telling people to mind their own business. I have like 10 different ways you can say it.
That's good. Yeah, put that on Patreon. That's good. People need that.
I'm going to post that.
All right, let's get back to this book, Johnny. The people are here for the book. So I do want to say a few things about this book. I'm just kidding. There's a lot of things. So the first time they have sex.
Yes.
She's a virgin. He knows that. Which, can you feel the hymen through fingering?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know that. I was reading in the book and I was like, I guess maybe if like he has long fingers, I don't know. I was like, I honestly don't know. So then he takes her home and they're like messing around and he ties her in this chair with a vibrator between her legs. And then he calls someone else over and then fucks that woman in front of her.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, that is some dark romance craziness.
Yes.
So then they're in bed later and she's like, I want you to have sex with me. Like, I want you to like have sex with me the first time, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no. And then she all of a sudden is like, don't do it. I don't want you to have sex with me. Don't fuck me. And I was like, get him with that reverse psychology. Get him. You gonna get him.
You gonna get him.
And then she does. And I was like, good for you, little pet. Good for you. Taunt that man into taking your virginity.
Oh, man. I mean, the one thing I liked about Pet in the book was that I didn't always feel like she was like a simpering idiot, which I feel a lot of times in dark romance. Mm-hmm. Like they're just so vulnerable and so like can't protect themselves.
Right.
I liked that Pet was kind of taking her destiny in her own hands. She's like, this is something I want to do. I'm kind of fucked up and twisted in my head and I want to try these things and do these things.
Right.
And so that was actually exciting about Pet. There's one thing I don't understand from this scene.
Tell me.
And maybe it was spelled out somewhere. And
birth
you can
control.
Help me. No, not the birth control, but that's a whole issue I would really like to talk about. Okay. But he calls Angel over and fucks Angel in front of her. And he's like, this has to happen in his inner dialogue. He's like, I'm doing this for a reason. And I don't actually know what the reason is.
I think the reason was that he didn't want her to fall in love with him because he knew we didn't know, but he knew he was going to die. And so he was like, I have to make sure she knows, like, I am not the good guy who she's going to end up with. And that I will always hurt her because that was at least my interpretation, but it was never spelled out.
Yeah, but that could make sense. I could see how that could be. But I was also like, at the end of the book, I was like, what was the exact reason? Yeah. Like, so she could have a friend?
And then I was also thinking, like, maybe so that she would know her place. Yeah. Like, you're my pet, and, like, I'll fuck whoever I want in front of you kind of thing.
Yeah, and I had pets before you, and I'll have pets after you. I had pets before you,
I'll have pets after you. That was kind of what I was thinking, too. It was like, you're not special. Even though she was, and he, like, let her sleep in his bed and whatnot. Yeah. Also, like, when you're really sick with cancer, or even if you don't have treatment, like, you would be, like, pretty noticeably sick, I think.
Yeah, I think so, too.
I don't know if you could fuck, like, all day long, all the time. Like you're a 40-year-old man with cancer and you can keep up with your little 18-year-old fuck toy. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, actually,
I don't know about that. If you guys, you know what, maybe some of you are doctors out there or nurses or some sort of professional.
Or you've gone through it and
and you might know the answer. But I have a hunch, 40-year-olds with cancer who are terminal, 18-year-old fuck toys. Not a good mix.
Might be difficult. Not impossible.
Because it wasn't like the end of the book. So like from the time that they broke up, I'll say broke up loosely at this point. We'll talk about the incident. But like from the time that they stopped being together to the time that he died was only like, was she pregnant?
I thought it was like 6 months or something.
Was she pregnant yet when she found out that he was dead?
Yeah, she was pregnant. She knew she was pregnant.
So
Jane, did you read this book?
Hi guys, Jane, producer Jane here.
Oh, I did. I read it.
Okay, how long, do you know how long they were together?
It's not specified, but she is pregnant by the time she gets left.
Like before he died?
Yeah.
So, okay, I think she said she was in her second trimester. So that would be like, let's say five months-ish, 6 months, and then plus an extra. So like, let's say they've been, but he was the one who knocked her up. So they haven't seen each other for like 6 months.
Yeah, and there was one point in the book where a few months had gone
5
by.
months.
I remember them saying like, oh, and we settled into like, or whatever.
Okay.
So
it's a couple, okay. So it's been like 6 months, let's say, from the time that they break up to the time that he dies. So maybe he was not in the very, very end stages yet.
Yeah, but he would have definitely been having some sort of symptoms and stuff. If he had been diagnosed, that means he went to the doctor because something was going on.
If he had denied treatment, he's definitely like stage 4, like
but that means he's already having symptoms.
Sure.
To go get diagnosed.
He'd be having like sweating, losing weight. Yeah, for sure. Losing hair maybe.
It's interesting, but I don't know that much about cancer. Yeah. So I'm not gonna speak too much on this.
We'll move away from the cancer.
But let's talk about something else that I do want to talk about.
Please start.
And let's talk about the no birth control, no condoms.
Please. Okay. So she says at the beginning in that first sex scene, he's like fucking her raw, and she's like, "Oh, but I'm not protected," and he's like, "I don't give a fuck." And
that's my quote, Bridget. That's my quote.
Oh, please tell the people the exact quote, Johnny. Tell them.
That was my quote. My quote is, "Pull out, don't come. No, but I'm not protected. I don't give a fuck."
Which I actually, for a dark romance hero, was like, that's hot. That's a dark romance right there. I was like,
I was there for it, Bridget.
I know you were. There was a lot of cum stuff in this book, as was there a breeding thing at the end, which I thought you'd be excited about. We'll talk about that. I have a note about that. So they don't mention at the beginning. Well, clearly she got knocked up. So like clearly she was not on birth control yet. And then she gets on birth control at some point because Stranger mentions that like when she moves into his house that she takes a pill every day. Yeah. But it was an unspecified pill. I know, it was unspecified. And so I think we're meant to think that it's birth control. Yeah. But I'm also wondering if maybe it wasn't birth control or maybe if it was, but she started taking it too late because she had already gotten pregnant or something like that. Yeah. Because her whole relationship with King is short. It only happens over the course of like a month. Yeah. Or something. Or like maybe 2.
I think it was like a few months. Because that's when she was talking about, oh, we've been settled doing this for a few months or something like that.
Oh, I thought she said weeks, but maybe you're right. Maybe it was months. But even so, it was it was like a quarter of a year. Yeah. It was a very short amount of time.
Whirlwind.
So a whirlwind, one might call it. I mean, she moved into his house like the next day. Yeah. I mean, like the day after she met him. So it was
she got kicked out of her
She did get kicked out of her apartment. I do agree with you, though. I think she could have been, especially considering her backstory, she could have been a very like weak character. Yeah. And I thought she was actually great because after she had sex with Stranger the first time, she knew King was mad and didn't want him to come back. And she was still like, but I'm going to tell him anyways. I want him to come back. Yeah. She's like, when's he coming back? Bring him back for me. And so I liked that aspect of her. And like when her parents were like, we're going to keep you here. And she was like, fuck you guys, I'm out of here. And left. And the backstory we're talking about is that King finds out that she was raped as like starting at 5 by the same person, and she won't say who it is. And she like self-harmed. And then you find out later that her therapist in high school or her counselor or whatever, like tried to like fuck her. And then also like basically like denied all her applications to college and like ruined her future because he was malicious because she wouldn't like have sex with him.
Which really quickly, do therapists have the power to do that?
Well, he's like a counselor. So it sounded like what happened was that he called the schools. You can, because, I mean, counselors have a lot of, like, leeway. Like, I got a recommendation, I think, from one of my counselors. Because they're not a counselor in, like, a therapist kind of way. They're a counselor in, like, they help you find your colleges. Oh,
okay. I thought he was a therapist.
Well, he was now, but I think when he was there, he was like the school counselor. So the school counselor, like you might talk to if someone's bullying you, or you might talk to, but you might also talk to them if you're like anxious about class, or if you're like, oh, I'm debating between these 4 colleges, and they would help you like look at the colleges. Like they're not always about, because the only time I ever saw my counselor was about college. It wasn't like about things you would see a therapist for. It was more like academically related.
Yeah.
But like if, let's say I had applied to a college, they know what colleges you apply to. Because I think we told the school what colleges you apply to. And because they send your like test scores or whatever for you.
Oh, okay.
I think. I don't remember. It's been a long time since
I went.
Jane's nodding. Jane went through this more recently because
okay.
Jane's in college now.
I was like, I don't remember.
Jane's nodding along though, so it feels like what I'm saying has some veracity. But anyways, so he could theoretically call and be like, oh, hey, University of Minnesota, actually, like, Bridget lied on her transcripts, or actually, like, she blah, blah, blah. Like, they could theoretically do it. And the college, I mean, why wouldn't the college believe them if no one calls to, like, if she doesn't call the college to be like, hey, that guy is a Looney Tune and blah, blah, blah. Like, if she just accepts it, then the college would believe someone who works for the school, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that I would hope that does not happen where someone is, like, ruining someone's future.
I mean.
But anyway, so that's, like, the reason why she left her parents and, like, left all her friends behind is because she, like, had been told as a child that she was bad by this guy who's raping her, which she had internalized. And then
you find out later that she was planning to commit suicide.
Right, exactly. And he also didn't rape her vaginally. He raped her anally. So the first time that King is going to have sex with her anally, she like completely shuts down and goes blank. And that's when he finds out and she finally tells him. And then I do want to talk about this, Shani, because you know how I feel about heroes who are making all kinds of decisions for the woman without asking her any goddamn questions. So he digs into her past, even though she asked him not to.
Yeah.
Which I was like, you know what? I'm fine with it because you're clearly a dark romance hero and you're going to murder this guy. And I feel like he needs to be murdered because he's a pedophile. So I'm okay with it. And then he does find him. He breaks the counselor's arm, which I was like, good for you. He deserves minimally a broken arm. And he ruins his entire career. And I was like, good. He should never be someone's therapist ever again. He's a terrible human being. And then he goes to the guy who's the rapist. And not only was he raping her, but there were other girls and he was raping his own daughter. And he makes him kill himself by shooting himself. And I was like, I'm not mad at it. What I am unhappy about is that you didn't tell her any of this was going on. You didn't even tell her after he died that you don't ever have to like worry he'll come after you again.
Yeah.
Because he had been sending her like escalatingly crazy and scary emails, which he knew she had read most of. But he didn't even like put her mind at ease, which I was mad about. And he decides for her that she doesn't get to like be with him while he's dying.
Yeah.
Which I was like, that's a pussy ass bitch move.
Yeah,
bruh.
that's the equivalent of when they leave and they go off or whatever. Yeah, I was like.
And it was even worse because she got an email or a letter from his estate saying, like, with the letter he wrote her, like detailing it all out, that it was after his funeral. So she didn't even get to go to the funeral to say goodbye. And I was like, you bitch. And then, like, to cap all of this off, I'm like, who are you to decide this? Because let's talk about the bottle scene. Because you, like, almost permanently injured her and ruined her ability to ever have children. When you were crazy. And then you did, like, and then you were like, oh, I can never, that's too far. And I'm like, yeah, bro, it was too far. It was so far. So
it was weird for me, like, when
I was mad. Pussy ass butch move. Stop trying to make decisions for other people. Let her make her own goddamn decisions.
We don't like Pabs on this show, y'all. Like, so the whole thing about him going to kill the counselor guy or whatever was so strange that when he came back and he didn't say anything.
Yeah.
And then he got weird. Like,
then
she was like, what's going on with him? He's getting real erratic and weird or whatever. And then that bottle scene happens as the culmination of him just being weird after that.
Yeah.
He fucks up, breaks a bottle in her vagina.
Yeah. So what happens is her and strangers see each other in real life and they're like flirting at the bar. They don't fuck around or anything. I mean, there's like definitely some petting and like some teasing and stuff, but like they don't like have sex or whatever. He just like walks her home and King finds out about it, invites Strange over, and she wants to have sex with them both. And he's like, well, you don't get our dicks because you like hung out with a stranger behind my back. And so he fucks her with this bottle, which she's like totally fine with because it's very humiliating and like part of her kink. So she's like turned on by it. But at one point, Stranger's like, I think she's had enough. And he's like, no, she hasn't. And then he like does it so much harder that it breaks inside of her.
Yeah. So a Stranger has to pick glass out of her vagina.
Yes.
And then King just leaves.
He leaves and goes and locks himself in the bathroom while he's trying to get glass out of her. And then before they leave, she's just like, he's like, I want to say goodbye. And she's like, it's okay. So she's just like, bye. And then they leave. First of all, he doesn't take her immediately to an emergency center.
Yeah,
and I
why
was
does
like,
he ask?
stranger, you don't ask the traumatized child who just had glass broken in her vagina. I have had sutures in my vagina, and let me tell you now, you take them right to the hospital. You could bleed out from that shit. That's how people bleed out after birth, because there is blood coming out of you.
So
that's so dangerous. There could have been glass stuck in there still. Also, was it sanitary? We don't know if it was sanitary. She could have had an infection. She probably did have an infection. Shawnee, they should have gone to the hospital. I am not happy about that scene.
So the one thing I'll say is, like, in dark romance, I've been like asking for, like, give me the darkness, like go into the darkness.
Yeah, you have.
You know? And a lot of these books that I read off the podcast are super dark.
Yeah.
And I realized in this moment that there's some things I don't want in any book, dark romance or not. And that's a broken glass bottle in a vagina.
Too far.
That's
too
just
far.
not
It's too far. Can I skip ahead, everyone, and just tell you what my review is? Because it's related to this.
Yes.
Okay.
Skip ahead.
It's from Jessa, and she rated it 2 stars, which I don't necessarily agree with the 2 stars, but her entire review is, the bottle scene did me in. And I was like, too fucking shay.
It's like hard to come back from.
Very
and then
hard to come back from.
And then after that, it got really weird because she didn't really want to be with Stranger. And it was like,
no.
You know, but King had set that up, but she didn't know he set it up. And
then you find out in the letter that he like picked Stranger, and I'm
Yeah.
like, how? Because she bumped into like 20 other people on the way.
Yeah.
So like, how did you pick him?
It
and
made no
it didn't
sense.
make any sense because it wasn't like Stranger was like walking down the street in front of their apartment because he was waiting for a job, and the job was supposed to be at their building because King had hired him to be there.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. He was like on a stoop, like a block over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she could have been picked up by anyone at that point.
And it didn't make sense because, one, we didn't hear that in King's head.
No.
Right? And I went back to listen.
Yeah.
He actually has thoughts about it at that time. And nothing says, like, okay, I planned this shit,
Right.
you know? Like, no inclination
I almost
of
wish
that.
it did, though, because had we had any inkling that King chose Stranger.
But I knew he chose Stranger. I knew the author was going to do that. Like,
you did?
From the minute that Stranger came in, I knew King had put it all in place. Because it's like a Dom thing, you know? And, like...
I mean,
but it was weak. It was
I didn't think he
weak as
chose.
fuck.
I didn't think he chose it because it like seemed so random. Like, had it been something where they like went out to a bar and he was like, "Go talk to that guy," or like it was more like felt more orchestrated. Like this felt very chaotic. Like
Bridget,
this was not a control situation, and a dom to me feels like it should be a control situation.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is weak, right?
Yeah.
I knew that the author was going to make this happen, but there was nothing justifying her decision for them to meet.
Gotcha.
Like, because you're absolutely right. She met so many other fools before him.
Yeah.
Like, and he's the one. Like, woo.
Yeah.
You know, because there's something about her that attracts people who want to just fuck her in the ass with very little consent to none.
And no lube. I mean, this poor girl needs some lube in her life.
I mean, I know people use spit, but some people spit is not that lubey. Don't make that face, Bridget.
I personally, as I think I have mentioned on the podcast before, do not like spit to be involved in my sexual experiences. It is not at all one of my kinks. In fact, I was fooling around with someone I remember one time when I lived in Chicago, and he like spit on his hand at one point, and I was like, "Thanks very much, I'm going home." I was like, "I don't know what you're doing, but I don't feel like I should be a part of it." That's like, this was enough for me. Goodbye. I like it is very much like spitting for me is like on the sports field. Like you're outdoors, you're spitting in the grass. It's like for me, it does not like. I've seen those like porns where it's like someone spits in someone else's mouth, and and I get kissing, like your spit goes in other people's mouths.
Yeah,
fine with that, but like. Literally spitting. If someone spit in my mouth, I think I might vomit.
Honestly, Bridget, like
it's not a kink I have, and so whenever I see something where they're like, "Oh, they spit on her," and I'm like, one spit does not feel like enough lubrication. Like you'd have to be spitting quite a bit to get enough lubrication on an entire penis to put it in a butt. I think.
Yeah, you do, unless you get a micro.
Because think about when you're giving a blowjob, if you're like. It's like the first time you lick them, it's not like their entire penis is now wet.
No, you just get the tacky.
Yeah.
The first go around.
Yeah. Oh my God. Anyways, I felt bad for her. I was like, you guys, I know she likes pain, but like, get a little bottle of lube and leave it in the playroom.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm with you in terms of spit is not my kink. It's one of the things that turns me off. it depends on necessarily, like, I might do it for myself, but I firmly believe
but you wouldn't like spit on. You'd probably like lick your fingers or something.
I would lick my fingers.
Yeah, like,
but like hocking a loogie.
No, don't you hock a loogie at me.
I've seen people hock loogies like in fucking porn.
Yeah,
and I've just been like, nope, and then I have to turn it off. You know. And I understand that it can be people's kink because, like, cum is my kink, right? And other people are like, fuck that, I don't want that shit.
Yeah.
It's definitely, like, there's a couple, Jet Setting Jasmine and King Noir, who I love. They're this, like, black porn couple. And they do, like, conscious parenting and, like, all this other stuff. And I just really enjoy them. And I honestly have followed them on Instagram for so many years and never actually went to go look at their actual porn because I didn't really care.
Yeah.
But then one day I decided to. I was like, let me just go look it up. You know, they had posted a link.
Did it shatter the illusion for you?
First of all, in the first 60 seconds, she's like under him and he just spits a loogie dead in her mouth. Oh. And I said, nope.
No. Okay, you guys, I do want to call out something that Shawnee said, which is this totally might be your kink. And we are not shaming you. We're just expressing it's not ours.
Yes.
If it's yours and it's consensual and your partner likes it too, spit away, my friends. Do you, whatever turns you on. But for me and clearly Shawnee, it's just not our MO. So anyways, let's move on from it. But I do want to say, get some goddamn lube.
Yeah. Before we end this podcast, like before we get to the end, I want to have a real talk about birth control.
Yes.
And breeding and raw.
Please.
Because I don't think we've ever had this conversation
Okay,
before.
well, it is next on my list of things to talk about.
Okay,
the breeder fantasy. It is the first time we've had one in a book. You are correct.
Yes.
I will read you the quote because it's a good one. This is Felix. So she has now gone to his house. She had about a week where she was like basically catatonic. He called the doctor in privately to see her. They stitched her up or whatever they had to do. So she is now healthy-ish. Maybe not mentally, but physically. And it has been a few weeks since that incident. And she's been living with him. And she calls him F or Felix. He calls her Saf, which I think Saf is a very cute nickname.
Yeah.
And I like that he like didn't just call her Sapphire. Like he made his own sort of name for her. I was going to say pet name, but like made her his own name for her, which I enjoyed. Anyway, so he says at one point he like sees her like doing something and he's like, I wanted to fuck her full and then keep trying until her belly swelled and her womb was full of me. I felt like a nasty pervert thinking about it like that. And I was like, I bet you Shawnee's going to like this.
I love it. Even though, so, I mean, the sex in this book, Isabella writes fun sex.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Dirty sex, like the dirty
I would
talk.
say it was a five-star flames. I mean, I would say it was a hot book. It was a very hot book.
Yeah, because even I wasn't feeling stranger. It did it for me. I was like, okay, that dirty talk. But I definitely, and I don't think I talked about it on this podcast. I think we were on Sarah's podcast when we actually talked about this. Mm-hmm. But I very much have my kinks surround like primal things like breeding, cum, like that sort of thing. So I love a raw fucking, no condom, especially when it's like a forced situation or like a slightly forced situation.
Yeah, like consensual, non-consent.
Like, exactly. Like when he was like, I'm not going to use that I'm not going to use a condom. I was like, no. Yeah. I was like, yes, absolutely. I love that.
Not in real life unless we see your test scores, but
exactly.
yes, in a book.
Did you score 100? What's but like I love the generous use of cum in this book.
A lot of cum.
And
I bet you like the scene after they double teamed her and then watched the cum pour out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bridget. I was like, and every so often I go through like these phases, right? Where I'll read a bunch of breeding books and then I'll be over them. I'll just be like, I can't do it anymore. And then I'll read a bunch of dark romance and then I just can't read anymore. And then I'll read a bunch of historicals. Yeah. So I feel like it's like whatever you're in the mood for, at least for me. Like I don't read them all year long. I probably read them most when I'm ovulating.
I also go back and forth, and I do have to say that if you guys are looking for some lighter stuff, I have been reading some other lighter romance novels that I'll talk about on Patreon as well, just to like balance out the darkness that we've been going through. Okay,
one of the things that Pornhub, they do like a study about what people are searching for, and it's interesting because the reason I wanted to talk about this on the podcast is that that's a big thing that people search for and women are searching for
sure.
on porn. Nobody wants to talk about it. Everybody wants to keep it all hush hush. Yeah. Like I have no desire to actually be pregnant.
No,
like not at all.
Yeah,
but the idea is sexy. The
for sure.
idea is like, it's like the idea that somebody wants to do that. The idea that you like, that's what's
they want to
hot.
like lay claim to you in all the ways that are able to lay
exactly.
claim. Yeah.
Like I knew this guy who made a song that was like, it was a really fucked up song. It was like, I put a baby in you because you wanted to go off to school. And I was like, it's basically that. It's like,
that's fucked up.
It's so fucked up.
That happens in real life. That's scary.
Yes, it does. And but it's kind of speaks to that thing of like, when you put a baby in someone, that person's forever in your life. Like,
for sure.
You don't get to escape them. Every time they look at that child, they think of you.
Hell yeah.
So there's just something so mental about that that I fucking love.
I mean, I will say, as you know, I will not have any more children. And before I started to have my children, I did not want to have any children at that time. But while we were trying to have children, it was a very fun fantasy. I mean, it wasn't even a fantasy. It was like a very fun thing to like play with and like talk and like dirty talk about.
Yeah.
You know, like that was a great time.
There's something.
I mean, now we still like now I'll still say shit, but I'm like, obviously, like you had a vasectomy and we can't have any more children. Thank heavens for us because we don't want any more. But
my partner will sometimes come and whisper some of that shit in my ear. You know, he's like, "Oh, you're so cute. I want to put a baby in you." And I'll just be like, "Damn, where we going? Upstairs? Where we going? Couch? Where we going?
Bend me over.
Grab the blanket.
Bend me over." It's so funny.
The table.
Okay, I want to talk. Speaking of bending over, I want to talk about. So Felix is being really careful with Pet / Saf when he brings her back, because obviously, like, she had a bottle broken in her vagina, so he should be careful. And she was very brokenhearted about King, and like a lot of things were going on. So he was kind of treating her with like some kid gloves, like giving her support, and they were like watching Netflix together and like sort of like learning about each other and like falling into this relationship. But he wasn't giving her that good, hard, crazy dick that she likes. Mm-hmm. And then
travesty.
Yeah, exactly. And then she tells him that she doesn't want to have sex with him and goes in the bathroom and she's having an orgasm in the bathtub while moaning his name. And he goes in and yanks her out of the bathtub and then proceeds to drown her a little bit while being like, you don't want me to touch you, but then you're going to moan my name, blah, blah. And then he, again, no lube, fucks her ass while also drowning her like in and out of the bathtub. She's like very happy about it afterwards. And then she says, oh, because the doctor told me, I knew like blah, blah, blah. And the doctor told me it wouldn't be like, we can't have sex because of the baby or something like that. And I was like, well, that's patently false. So that was a weird statement. And also I was like, he is drowning her. I was like, I mean, choking I can get behind, but drowning in water? Would it be waterboarding folk now? I was like, what is happening in this book, Johnny? I was like, you know what? That's something you can't do with toddlers, because if your toddler saw your dad trying to drown your mom sexually, toddler would be freaked the fuck out.
I always wonder, like, what people do in front of their kids and to what age, right?
But also, like, think about the bruises and stuff, because, like, if you're a person who has no children and you're sporting some sexy love bruises, like NBD. But if I have a hickey, you better believe both my kids are poking it, ask me about it, wondering what it is. Yeah. And if I had handprint choke mark on me, my kids would be concerned as fuck. Mommy, something's wrong. You have a bruise on you. You need ice. And they're little. They don't know.
They're little.
Like, if you had a 12-year-old, they'd be like, yo, mom's dad choking you. Should I call DCFS? Should I call the police? Like,
but I feel like, right, like your kids are at an age where if you give them an answer, they'll believe you, right? So you give a bruise, you're like, oh man, mom bumped herself painting. And Kira would be like, oh, okay, I kiss a boo-boo. And that'd be it.
Sure.
She'd be moved on. Mm-hmm. But I always wonder, like, I was talking to my sister about this. And it was like, she's like, oh, yeah, I fuck all the time with the baby in the room, right? Which I'm down for. I'm like, that baby don't know what's going on. Yeah. Get yours, you know? But I always wonder, when is the time people go, you know what? Like, now. Like, your kid comes up to you while you're having sex, poking you, and it's like, hey, is that the moment you go, okay, this is the time you need to go to?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of cultures where, like, the parents have sex at night and the kids are just, like, on a pallet asleep next to them.
Yeah.
And actually, they say that there's a part of the reason why people have, or part of the reason they theorize that people have so many problems with sex, or like misguided expectations of what it is, or get into troubling situations, is because you no longer see animals having sex and you no longer see your parents having sex.
Yeah.
So if you grow up in a culture where you see animals having sex, you see your parents having sex, like even if you're not like at 5 years old, like sitting up and watching the whole thing, you hear it, you hear the sounds, you hear that they whisper nice things to each other usually. I mean, but you kind of see that it's not like some crazy porno, whereas now a lot of kids are learning about what sex looks like from things that are done by professionals who are like bendier than any human being has a right to be, or they're asking for things that you're like, do I have to do that?
Yeah.
Or should I want that? And they're not getting that. Like you don't see like two dogs just going at it typically, or you don't see like a cow giving birth or whatnot, depending on what part of the world you live in. So to circle back to that, it depends on your culture, I would assume. I mean, our kid never slept in our room because, as you know, I believe that my child should be in their room so I could sleep. So our kid never slept in our room. Yeah, but I don't know, like, I mean, certainly we would stop having sex if she came in and we were having sex.
You'd be like, we're hugging.
Yeah, we would definitely stop. We actually have never, I mean, we've never had sex. Like, while they're awake, we just, like, don't have sex. Because they're so little and they take long naps and they sleep at night. So it's, like, not a big deal. And also, I feel like I would lock the door and just prevent that whole scenario from happening. There would be a locked door in between. Once they reach an age where, like, they will survive without my direct attention at all times, there will just be a locked door if that should need to happen.
I always thought it would be cool to, like, because I, like, read all these studies about, like, co-sleeping with their babies, this and that, whatever. And I think fundamentally do what works for you.
Sure, of course.
I like the idea, like, if I had a kid of, like, co-sleeping, other than the fact that they're going to kick me in my fucking nuts all damn night.
Yes, they do.
And
in your face.
In my face and all
your
that.
Boobs.
And I was like...
Kira hit my bladder so hard with her elbow when she climbed in the other morning at, like, 6:30. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, you lay still or you get out.
You're like, today's the day you die.
She laid like a little mummy. She almost made me pee all over the bed. She sumo dropped on me. She like was standing and just full dropped her elbow right on my bladder while I was asleep, and it woke me up, and I was like, what's happening? Why are you here?
Well, I thought of having this idea of having like a community bed, right?
Yeah.
Where like we can all bundle in together on this bed, right? The kids and everybody. And they fall asleep, and then you communally get your ass out the bed.
You trick them into thinking that's your bed, but it's not. You have your own bed. That's a separate bed.
But I called the communal bed my bed. I'd be like, that's Mama's bed. So because they only want it because it's yours.
Of course.
They want to fuck you.
They want to be by you.
And they just want to fuck you.
She calls me and Leo's bed the family bed. I want to sleep in the family bed. I go, it's not a family bed. It's mommy and daddy's bed. Your bed is in your room.
It's like, you put the same food in front of you and your kid, and they're like, I want to eat off your plate.
Of course. That's fucking funny, though. I should try that at our new house. Like, get a bed and be like, okay, you can come sleep with mommy. And then when they're passed out, just be like, peace. And go into my room. And really, it's their room, but they think it's my room. That would be funny. They would know I wasn't there in the morning, though. They would catch on pretty quick, I think.
Oh, man. They would know, but you would just probably be
Shawnee, I don't think you would. I think you would only like co-sleeping when they're really little. I don't think you would like co-sleeping.
I co-slept with my little cousins, and I didn't like it.
I don't think you would like it.
Boy,
but also because you like to fool around, and like you can't fool around if there's a kid in between you.
No. It would really put a cramp on my style. It
would put a real cramp on your style. Real cramp. Plus, you like to stay up late and stuff like that. And like, those little fools would be everywhere.
I think my day, I think I figured out my schedule, by the way, dear listeners. So I am a night owl, and I've been, during COVID, I gave myself permission to actually follow the hours of my body, which is really cool. And I think I've come to like settle on the fact that I'm going to wake up at about 4 a.m. in the morning, which is what seems to work, and also seems to work with the schedule of my partner too, not being, crazy. But when I wake up at 4, I can go to sleep at 10. I wake up at 4 fully rested, and the world is still super quiet, and I have the most efficient 3 to 4 hours I've ever had. I mean, I crushed a to-do list yesterday. I only left off the one thing that was giving me stress.
That's good. Sometimes you got to do that.
But I was like, I've done this for a few nights now, and I was just like, you know what? I think I'm going to try this for a month and see how this really pans out.
I love that.
So we'll see how that goes.
I need to reconvince myself that it's a good idea to do what I was doing, which was nice, which was wake up not even that early, 6:30, maybe 6, just to have 45 minutes before my kids start making noise to drink my tea, read a little bit, brush my teeth, go to the bathroom with no one in there with me, like shower maybe, exercise if it's that day, and then like just mentally like think about what I'm going to make everyone for breakfast, like things like that, you know? Because I did it this morning and I was like, oh, I'm so much nicer when no one's waking me up being like, Mommy, it's awake time. And I'm like, fuck you. It's much better when I'm the one saying, wake up.
You're like, stop listening to Dora. She's going to get you killed.
Hilarious. Okay, I do quickly want to wrap up this review talking about the fact that I was not that upset that she got pregnant because they were very unclear about birth control. So I was actually happy she got pregnant and there was a consequence to not using condoms and birth control. Although then they mentioned birth control and I was like confused about what was going on.
Yeah.
They mentioned pills, not specific pills. But they could have been anti-anxiety. Who knows?
It was a very scattered book.
It was a very scattered book. And then, but I don't necessarily like so then it fast forward, it's like the epilogue is 5 years later. She has a 5-year-old or 4-year-old that they go every week to his gravestone and talk to him. And so he knows all about, she's pregnant with the next kid. And first of all, I'm like, I'm sorry, you have a breeder fantasy husband. You would already have a 3-year-old if you had a 4-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
It should have been a year later, not 5 years later. Hello. He would have knocked your ass up the next day that you were allowed to have sex again. Neither here nor there, but it's true. And
if they're like you, then yes.
Exactly. Well, clearly she's 18 years old. She's going to pop out kids like a motherfucker. She's young as hell. At this point in the book, she's now 20.
I feel like 18, your vagina is like just ready, like always. It's got like it's glove. It's like
it's got that it's got that sticky stuff.
Okay,
it's like give it to me, give it to me. I'm gonna catch those baby sperms. I'm gonna catch those baby sperms. Let's get a baby sperm. Sperm. Yeah, for sure.
Got him.
I'm gonna tuck that one away for later. You guys, I wish you had just seen. Maybe I'll post a little clip of our video, but like our little dance that we just did was fucking hysterical. Anyway, she ends it with an HEA with a baby, not only like King's baby, so she has like completion because she gets to watch like King's face grow up, but then also like she has a baby with Felix and they're gonna get married. She has an engagement ring, and I'm like, it's been 5 years, you'd be married. That makes no sense. Let's go to our hero and heroine ratings. Let's take a quick break because I feel like there's gonna be thoughts in this section, and I do want to get to them for the people. Okay, Shawnee, tell me what you thought about Pet Sapphire, Saf.
Oh,
lady of name.
It's weird because like Sapphire didn't even feel like her name whatsoever.
No,
Pet felt like her name.
I agree.
But I gave Pet a 3.
Okay,
here's why.
Tell me.
Mostly because I felt like no matter what crazy shit was going around, she was like controlling like what she wanted to do. The only time I felt like she lost that control was after the whole bottle incident where she basically is like shipped off to Felix and then Felix is taking care of her. And then she expressed wanting to leave at some point to stay with Angel, you know, and he was like, no, I don't want you to leave or whatever. And that was the first time I really felt.
She said Angel will so I reread that section because I was confused about who was saying what.
Yeah.
So Angel offered to let her stay. She tells Felix, like, oh, thanks for taking care of me, but you don't have to, like, I don't have to be your burden anymore. Angel said I could stay. And he's like, no, I want you to stay with me.
Gotcha.
So that's like, so it seems like at first I was like, oh, he's like trying to convince her. But then I was like, oh, she's like feeling like she should leave. And he's like, no, I don't want, do you think I want you to leave? Because I definitely don't. And she's like, oh, well, I want to stay with you. That's kind of the way.
Oh, okay. Because I read it differently. I was like, is she trying to leave and he don't want her to leave?
No, I think she was more just like, I want him to feel like he should take care of me.
But I feel like that speaks to their pairing because the fact that she feels like a burden on him, she don't know how he feel about her. She don't know where she stands in that relationship. It was so strange.
Yeah, because at that point he was trying to be like nice to her still.
Yeah.
He was trying to like give her space and not like control everything about her even though he wanted to.
Yeah. Which is weird because King did the same thing, right, early in the book where like she wants to be savage. She wants to be
she had to like taunt him into it.
Yeah. And then he finds out about her trigger with the anal stuff. And then he like backs off and he's like sweet and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's not what brought her to you, bruh.
Yeah.
Like you had to talk
still
about
be mean,
it.
Just don't have anal sex.
Yes. Like don't change it up. Now, she's traumatized. So now I must be gentle. It's like, no. If the girl asking for it, give her what she's asking for.
Give her what she's asking for, please.
That's what I'm saying.
Anyway, so you gave her 3.
So I gave her 3.
I gave her 4. I was on the fence between 3 and 4, but I did give her a 4 because I agree. Like, I liked that she was like, no, like, I want this. I like that she became friends with Angel and, like, didn't, I felt like she could have been like much more catty in her, especially in her mind, being like, fuck it. Even though King wants me to be friends with her, I'm not gonna be friends with her because I'm jealous or blah, blah, blah. But like she actually like gave her a chance and ended up being a good friend of hers. And I also liked that she was like pushing both of them and asking for what she wanted. So she's like, I want you both to fuck me at the same time. I want him to come back. I want you to brand me, which I thought was crazy. We didn't even talk about that. Yeah, he branded her.
Oh, yeah,
at first, I thought he branded her on the pubic bone, but then
Yeah.
it turns out it was the inside of her thigh.
Yeah.
And with his like signet ring. And I was like,
Which makes no sense to the story of the book because he knows he's going to die.
I agree. And also, like, Stranger says, oh my God, brand her. She's not cattle. You're fucking crazy. And then he ends up helping hold her down. And I was like, because she like looks at him and like kind of like pleads for him to come help and like hold her hand. And then he like kind of gets off on it. And I was like, y'all are batshit. You all are batshit crazy. I almost took a full star off her because I'm like, you wanted to get branded, you crazy girl.
That reminds me of Nexium, that cult Nexium, where like all the women were getting branded and the women were holding down the other women to get branded and shit. Some crazy ass shit, man.
You know what? You know what, Shawnee?
You're removing a star, aren't you?
No, I'm gonna yuck someone's yum. I really don't think you should get branded.
You know,
even if it's your kink, you can do it for fake so that you are not permanently injured, and like you can do like a whole real delicious scene about it, but then not permanently injure yourself. I just don't think it's a good idea.
You know, listen. Without medical professionals
exactly.
present,
How do you know it's sterile?
I don't think
How do you know how hot to make it? It just seems like it's got a lot of real concerning things that could happen to you. And I'm sorry, but I don't know if I could get behind it.
You're kind of pointing out something that I think that I don't like about this book, which is you'll want to label this book BDSM, but it is not, right? Because there's no explicit conversations about what we're agreeing to. There are no safe words.
Right.
There's no safe, sane, consensual happening.
Sure.
So for me, this is not BDSM. This is not a good example of BDSM.
Right.
This is pure, like, erotic fantasy.
It's like kinky,
taboo.
master sub, like sort of like dynamic, but
it's
not
power play. There's definitely power play.
Sex as punishment.
Yeah, but
like,
I feel like there has to be some of these things in order to like label it like BDSM.
Sure.
Like for me, if I'm gonna get branded, I need medical professionals there, right? So when
that can't just be a spur of the moment in the sexual bliss. I just had 2 orgasms and made this decision kind
brands
of shit.
don't just heal magically. No. Like they need some care. Yeah. And even when you go into like the kink community, people who do like needle play and hooks and things like that, they've trained to do those things.
Sure.
So like, and they had a like teacher who was also trained to do those things. And they have a
contract with that other person about exactly where it can go and how deep and what their aftercare will be and blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, I gave her 4 stars. And I'm sticking with it. But
I know you don't want to.
But I literally wrote, I personally think she's batshit crazy for getting her a brand.
When I was in college, the Qs, I forget what fraternity that is, but the Qs, they would brand like this Q onto their arm, grown men. And they'd have these keloid brands.
Yeah.
I never understood it. I was like, I feel like if my kid came home branded,
I mean, I understand.
I would take them out of this life.
I would be, as you probably are aware, so mad. And I would be like, what was the medical situation? But I would be like, do you have an infection? When did this happen? Do you use your ointment, vitamin E cream? Like, what's your protocol? Yeah, no. All right, let's talk about King. What was your hero King?
I gave King a 2, and I said because he bitched out and died.
Shawnee. Oh my God.
And I would have, and if I was her, I would have gone to his grave after his funeral and I would have peed out the headstone.
I wouldn't have like brought his son there every day. I would have
not a chance in hell. I wouldn't tell my son about you. I was like,
I would probably tell my kid, especially if he wasn't going to look like the actual dad. I would probably tell him that he had a different dad. But like, I said, this is my thing. What a roller coaster with him. Jeez. The man can fuck and control and dirty talk. However, he was not honest with her about a lot of things.
Yeah.
And left a lot of fucked up, I'm doing this for you without choosing vibes. And then he actually injured her. He left her to be taken care of by a stranger and didn't even help when she was injured. So 2 stars. But maybe like 3, or does it make him 4 stars because he's a dark romance lead and so we should want him to do these things? I was all confused in my head about what's going on, but I'm sticking with 2, I think.
These things didn't do it for me. They didn't give me the warm and fuzzy.
They didn't like
the warm and
some
nasties.
of them gave me like early on gave me like the sexy fuzzies.
Yeah.
But not the like, they gave me a lot of like, yo, bro, like get your mind right fuzzies too. Okay, what did you think about Stranger? I like Stranger better personally than Felix as a name. Because Stranger was hot. Felix was just like a dude.
Yeah,
Felix, Stranger was hot.
Yeah, it was like when Pestilence got his name of Victor, and we were like, oh.
No, hard pass.
Wow, hard pass.
Hard pass.
Stranger was nice. Stranger was nice because there was that little mystery to it, or whatever. And I like Stranger. I gave Stranger a 3.
Okay.
And I gave him more than I gave the other dude because, first off, I felt like he didn't have enough time in the book to do too much wrong.
For sure.
He tried to help her
Yep.
after the whole bottle incident, and he tried to care for her and that sort of thing. I feel like he was fucked up when he met her initially, but that was the mechanic of him.
Right.
It was a little strange and how it all happened, like, because Stranger wasn't in on King's plan. So, like, Stranger was just like, well,
he was just, well, I think he
down
just
the clown, really.
Well, and also he recognized, like, because he said pretty early on, like the first time we were in his mind, that he was like, something's wrong with our dynamic, and like, I'm gonna get her out of there. Like, she shouldn't be with him.
Yeah,
she should be with me. And I was like, okay, like that's nice,
Yeah. But I called him Mick Stranger Danger or
So
Mick
good.
Leftovers.
Dude, I totally agree. I gave him like a 3 or 4 maybe, but I gave him a 3 just because, like, same thing you said. Like, I felt like he was a device for King to play her with, not a fully fleshed character. And also that crazy bathtub scene. I was like, yo, bro, you're gonna drown her. This is crazy. But he did get like 5 stars for dirty talk. Yeah, because that man dirty talked in the way that I appreciate. So, but I think I'm going to stick with a 3 for him because like I think if he had a few more chapters, he would have been a 4. Like a few more chapters of them. So like, I think there was a missing point for me, which was, so you have the book, like you don't see him till 50% of the way through. And then the last like quarter of the book is just the 2 of them. But I felt like in that just the 2 of them, there needed to be like another chapter or 2 after she like heals from the initial thing where they fall in love. Like that's what I needed. I needed the fall in love chapter.
The HEA wasn't earned.
Exactly. I needed that like, and I needed the fall in love chapter to be like him and her out together and him like telling her like, I want you to go into the bathroom and I want you to like lean over and wait for me and blah, blah. Like I needed some sort of like, I needed him to treat her like a sexual object the way she wanted before the scene with the bathtub, because the bathtub was like too far from, like there wasn't enough connecting that from like the bottle scene. He takes care of her, she decides to stay, they fall into this like domestic thing while she's like mentally healing. She finds out like her attacker's dead, she meets his family, like those are all very like domestic things, which I think are fine. But also I needed like 1 or 2 chapters of like them still being like him still being a dom to her and still like choking her or telling her like, you know, like we're going to go see my parents today and like you're going to be dripping full of my cum because I'm going to like get you pregnant.
Write that book, Bridge.
I know, right? And like I'm going to get you pregnant and I want you to know like they're going to love you, but they're not going to know that like my cum is like dripping on your underwear or whatever. Like I needed something for her to like.
Well, okay. So ever since we read It Ain't Me, Babe, I quantified what was bothering me, right? Yeah. And it's every book I can't unsee it now, which is in It Ain't Me, Babe, they had nothing in common.
Oh, yeah.
0 in common. There was no reason for them to be together other than sex. And as we all know, sex is only so much of your day or week, right?
Yeah, it's like a very small sliver, even if it's intense.
Part. So if all I have in common with you is sex, then I only need to see you like once a week. Yeah. Like, why are we building a relationship? What's going on? And I think that's the kind of thing. Like with King initially, first off, it was like that new relationship energy. So they were fucking all the time. You could be in it. But when she gets with Felix, you need more to explain why this couple is together.
I almost feel like the author was like, this book's getting long, I better wrap it up, because she says like in passing a bunch of things that I wish had been more fleshed out, which was like, she says like he's encouraging me to like go back to school and to get my degree. And I was like, ooh, I love that. Like, but I wish that was like, we got to see that conversation where he's like, well, what do you want to do? Like, oh, you love art? Like, I'm going to take you to all these art galleries, or I'm going to like help you get into college or whatever. Like I wanted to see him, like I wanted to see the dynamic, which I think is what she was trying to set up, which is like he was controlling, but in a good way. Because like she mentioned something about like, oh, she left the bathroom door open a little bit. The way I told her she always has to, so I can always see her.
Yeah.
So like she still follows orders like a good girl or whatever, something like that. So I wanted to see more of that where he's like controlling. He lays her outfits out because she likes it. So he's like taking care of her in that like dominating way she likes. But he's also doing what King didn't do, which is not trapping her in her house. He's helping her like grow and like go to college and make friends and go out and see people. But he's also doing it with like, again, like cum in her underwear dripping down her legs her friends don't know about. You know what I'm saying? So like I wanted the balance. He was supposed to be the balance, and I think he went too far to the good guy side.
Yeah.
Except for the drowning scene, which I think was too far to the crazy side. And I wanted a happy medium.
Well, so you couldn't convince me this book wasn't a fan fiction at a certain point.
Yeah.
Jane. Every chapter has information in it that never comes to fruition later, right? So when you're writing chapter by chapter, you're like, oh, you know what? In the end, I'm going to do this thing. And then as you write the next chapter, you're like, oh, that thing won't work. So then that thing stays in the story, but it doesn't fulfill a mechanic, you know? And this book was filled with a lot of those. That's why the pills that didn't make any sense when they mentioned her taking pills or whatever, like this is clearly a fan fiction author who does not know how to take her story to novel form. And that drives me insane because I'm not here for like a crazy like Latin novella.
I don't know how you would find that out. Like I actually don't think that's true.
No. I know I don't know how you find it out, but this like I would bet money that this is because there's so much information that's useless in this book.
You think the author came from a fan fiction background or this specific book was fan fiction at one point?
I feel like, one, she definitely came from fan fiction. And two, she probably wrote this as a fan fiction. Maybe she didn't post it, but then she decided, you know what? I have a whole novel here. Why waste it? And decided to do it with very little editing. There's just all these threads that are not connected. And that's what drives you crazy. That's why this book feels like chaos. At a certain point, right? She's with King halfway through the book. We have a full story. I was down for the halfway through the book story. Even though there were some weird things, I was down for their relationship and their HEA. Then all of a sudden, there's a menage.
Yeah.
King is dying. He's got leukemia.
But it wasn't even a menage where they got to be together. They all got to like even if King and Stranger hadn't been together, I actually thought when it first came in that he was going to like move in with them and become part of their. So like him and King aren't in a relationship sexually, but they're both in a relationship with her at first.
Yeah, but
then no. That didn't happen.
They had both.
This was her BT Dubs. This is her 10th book she published.
Yes, she needs more work.
They all were published within like 2 years of each other, so they were not.
It's just for me, the book, like I love the sex scenes, and they would shine if the book was better written. The story and the plot and all of that is so all over the place for me.
There was a lot, especially in the second half of the book. There was like a lot of stuff coming fast and furious from all directions.
What's happening?
Yeah, there were definitely a lot of parts where I was like, okay, we're in a new situation.
Yeah.
New situation. I was chatting with Jane in our meeting earlier, and me and Jane were both like, woo, this book was a doozy. This book was a doozy.
It really felt like, because I was trying to break it down.
I called him a McChokabitch.
Because like at first I was like, this book feels like she edited out random parts and never made the book reconnect itself.
Or it's like two books became one book. Like Stranger was book 2 and then it all became book 1 or something.
Oh, that could be. I mean, I feel like some authors are doing it, but it doesn't matter. There's still too many facts that have no connection later.
I don't disagree.
I would bet that this is a fan fiction.
What was your... Well, we have no way to prove that veracity unless some of you just randomly know this.
If anybody knows if this was a fan fiction, let us know. Because
let us
Bridget is a competition right now. Bridget,
I am. I don't think it was fan fiction, but I don't not think she had a past in fan fiction. That could very well be true. Yeah. I don't think this specific book was necessarily fan fiction.
No. Right. Wait. Actually, what was your favorite line?
Wait, what are we doing? Our favorite line.
Your favorite line.
Welcome to Bridget's Sexy Corner.
Bridget's Sexy Corner.
Okay, this is a long one, you guys, because this whole scene, I was like, ah, welcome.
I'm going to need you to have that real good sexy
You ready? Voice. Okay, let me just, here we go. So this is Stranger and Pet sitting at the bar, and they're not supposed to be together, away from. Would you let him fuck you in the ladies' room? I growled in her ear as she put her hand over mine and squeezed my fingers. Would you let him come in your ass in there and plug it up? Would you let him walk you back over here with no panties on, hoping your ass doesn't leak around the plug and trickle down your long legs? Please, she wheezed. She was already so close. Such a good girl. Would you let him make you come up to me and ask me to back to your apartment, fuck you like a little cum toy, I went on? And would you say it in front of anyone here with cum in your ass and your pussy dripping down your legs? And I was like, ooh, stranger, welcome to the show, son. Snap.
Well, if you're going to show up, show up.
I was like, if you're going to show up halfway through, you better kick through the door. I do have to say that he did kick through the door. I just think the last few chapters with them was the problem. It wasn't the like initial scene of him having sex with her at the window. It wasn't them like yearning for each other during those other menage scenes. It wasn't this scene. It was the after the bottle incident, that ending like 3 chapters where I was like, okay, you set up that she has this pull towards him. You set up that they have a connection and a desire for each other. You set up that even in public without King there, they like are still have that connection. And like, even though she wants to obey King, she wants to like stay with Stranger more. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm fine with it. And then after the bottle, like you don't reestablish that separately from King. Like that was my thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, what was your favorite quote?
King seemed to be like the glue. Like I needed King to stay alive for that all to work for me.
Yeah.
I only picked one quote and I read it already.
Oh, okay.
It's all my breedy quotes.
Okay. All right. Well, what was your favorite review? Because I already read mine.
Okay, my favorite review was from Noni, which is interesting because Nani is actually my nickname. This book left me confused, frustrated, and yes, even angry. I enjoyed the story just fine, right up until Stranger came into the picture. From that point onward, the story just went downhill for me. And don't even get me started on the ending, which is a big fuck up. I felt let down and even somewhat cheated. I spent time investing in Pet and King, only to have my head and feelings screwed in every direction. And I felt very much this was the case because when I go into a story, I want that HEA, I want it for the couple, or
I want to know early on that that's not the couple.
Exactly. Yeah. So for me to take the book as long as it did with Pet and King, just to have that switcheroo at the end makes me feel very like lied to. You took my emotions, you know.
You told me with my emotions.
You told me with my emotions.
Yeah.
You know.
Like I think you should have shown up like 30% in. Or 25%.
Even if he wasn't like in it. But if he just showed up until you get an inkling that there's another person. Okay, now you get a Edward Jacob type thing, like who's the one for you? Yep. You know, shit. She should have made this a choose your own adventure book. I'm like, turn to page 7 if you want fucking Stranger to be the dude.
Ooh,
I'd be so down.
That
for
would
that.
be a.
Can we do that? Let's make a romance. Choose your own fucking erotic adventure.
Crazy. I love that idea. Oh my God, let's figure out how to make that happen. That's fucking awesome.
That would be great.
So overall, I was torn in this book between a 3 and a 4 because like I said, like the sex scenes were super, super hot.
Yeah.
I was here for them. So I would definitely say like this would go on like Shawnee's one-shot scenes of goodness.
Yes.
However, like Shawnee and I have both mentioned, but like the plot does tend to fray in the second half of the book quite a bit. So, but I was between a 3 and the 4 because I'm like, it's dark romance. So it's like, I feel like, but it also like went with the bottle scene. I was like, what? So anyways, I think I'm going to end up on a 3. Even though I feel like with like some small tweaks, it could easily have been a 4 book for me.
Yeah.
But also I think the sex scenes were 5.
Yes.
So it's like, you know.
The balance.
It's hard for me. It's hard for me, Shawnee, because you know a good sex scene in an erotic dark romance can certainly elevate the material.
Yes, it can.
I don't know.
This book definitely would.
I was on the fence.
This book definitely would make it on my quickies for your quickie list.
Quickie for your quickie, man.
The sex was hot. The dirty talk was hot.
Super hot.
I mean, Isabella Starling can write fucking hot ass sex scenes.
Speaking of which, Shawnee, I'm going to tell you all about Peep Show, which is not a sequel. It's a standalone also, but it has the same neon letters and like cover style.
It's still her?
It's still her. And it is about 2 people who live across like a New York City street, like balconies. And at the very beginning, she sees him fucking another girl and he sees her watching and he like watches her while she's watching. And
that's a start to a very great, really nice story.
It's pretty erotic. so far.
You know what's funny? I feel like some of these authors have really great premises. Like they're in the shower one day and they're like, I got it. You know? And like Pestilence, great premise. And then they fuck it up along the way.
And they fuck it all. I don't know whether I'm not far enough.
Too much.
I'm not far enough in. It feels like there might be too many issues in this book, and like it might be doing too much. But I'm not far enough in it yet to know. But I'll let you know on Patreon.
But anyway, so
great dirty talk though. Still, like great sex scenes, great dirty talk.
Yes,
it's working for me so far.
Totally. So Isabella, she can write a sex scene, and I would recommend anybody who really loves some really fucked up, erotic, dark sex, all the trigger warnings, it's all there for you. Yeah. But the plot and everything else about this book did not at all work for me. Yeah. So plot-wise, I was at a 1. Okay. And sex-wise, I was at a 5. Okay. So I met in the middle. Love it. And I was like, I'm going to give it a 3 because I was between a 2 and a 3, but I was like, you know what? She really nailed the sex. And I always say if an author really nails that sex for me, like I gotta show the love. You know what I mean? Because you're showing me the love, so I'm gonna show you the love. So I'm gonna give it a 3. Okay. Well, yeah.
Jane, do you want to weigh in? Do you have a rating for what did you think?
My 2 cents is that when I was a server, old men hitting on me did not start anything.
No. It was creepy. Soup's creepy. Soup's creepy. I totally agree. I once had an old man put $1 tip because he was like, old white man from a country club, like 70-year-old, put $1 tip in my shirt pocket and almost threw up on the floor on the tray. And I was like, okay, thanks. And like walked away. And I was like, you're a creep. But also like he wasn't a 40-year-old, like sexy as hell silver fox. So I'm like, but yeah, no, 40-year-olds when I was 18, I was like, you're an old ass man. Hell no. Yeah. Oh, also speaking of ages, I wish that Felix had been like 28 instead of 32. Or 27. Because at one point, King calls him boy. And then he's like, how old are you? He's like 32. He's like, you're only 8 years younger than me. And she's 12 years younger than you or whatever. Or 14 years younger than you. And I was like, I wish like he had been 28. And then it was like, you're only 12 years younger than me. She's 10 years younger than you too. Like meaning like, you're not that like old or what, I don't know. Yeah. I wished he was more of like a boy, like closer to her age, more of a boy, but like 32, but then he has like this like tech job that's sort of like undefined. And then he starts working for his dad at a hotel or something. So he's like old money. And I was like, but there wasn't enough time to get into all that. So I was like, do we care about this? No, we don't.
Actually, I think you have a point there though, because I think that would have added one more element. Or
if he was like 25
jealousy.
Or 26.
Well,
or like
it could have justified a little bit more of King's jealousy too. Because like this young boy can give you something that this old boy can't, you know?
Or like, and I know he's going to like love her and I'm dying and
you know. But still, like all of it, we had King's point of view, and I felt like none of this information.
Yeah, it was a sideswipe. It was a Hans from Frozen situation, you guys.
They Hansed us.
Hansed us. You'll never Hans us again. All right, you guys. On that epic ending note. Until next time.
And also, welcome, Jane.
Welcome, Jane, again.
Welcome. We love having you here.
You guys, I told Shawnee earlier today, I was like, I love Jane so much. I'm keeping her forever.
She did. That was like the first thing she said when we picked up
the phone. So, you guys, we want you to know that Jane is the best, and we're excited to have her, and we're excited to have all of you and all of our new dear listeners.
Absolutely.
So, until next time, may your books be your lover.
And your hand, your best friend.
Bye. Thanks for listening.
Subscribe to our channel to get new episodes, clips, and more.
And click here to watch our previous reviews and author interviews.